And I'm really sorry. I am having some issues here, uh, times two. And I know if you've watched it and you keep watching, thank you for your support. What basically happened, I use a lot of Rode products. Nothing wrong with that. Not sponsored. But sometimes if you hit the wrong button, my fault, you end up not having the results you want. And what it sounded like was a monster that was narrating Jaws, which in itself is probably not as bad as it sounds, but I wouldn't want and typically these are 12, 14 minutes long. You wouldn't want to sit here and listen to a guy with a low voice telling you all about Jaws. So anyway, here we are again. Third time's a charm, I guess they would say, right? All right, today we're going to talk about Jaws. Now you can see Jaws is right behind me, and you see those teeth? He's real upset with me because I've not done a good job on this presentation, but hopefully we will do better. Okay, Jaws in 1975 was an American thriller film directed by Steven Spielberg based on Peter Benchley's 1974 novel by the same name. The film is notable for its significant impact on cinema and popular culture. Okay, the inception. Peter Benchley's novel, Jaws, was published in 1974 and became an immediate bestseller. Now, a lot of you will have seen Jaws. You grew up when Jaws was out for the first time, or you've watched it over the years. And you find, and I give anybody that writes a book, and I know I've said in other presentations that we all have a book inside us, that some write, some don't. But when you take a topic is describing what happens when a massive human eating shark, how do you get it in a book for it to be so profoundly creepy, scary, all the things you would say, to have it become a bestseller? I mean, I really, really give that. It's hard with film, I get it. And we'll get into why he got a little hard on the filming of Jaws. But, to have a book go as a bestseller related to sharks is pretty interesting. Because, yeah, we can read, and thank God our brain can visualize what we're reading and picture, but it doesn't necessarily have the same effect as dun, 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 and then this big thing with a big mouth comes up behind you, and you see it. So, anyway, with it becoming a bestseller, producers Richard D. Zanuck and David Brown read the novel and bought the film rights before its release. So, they could, God bless them, could definitely see something really good here. Now, with Steven Spielberg, he's a good movie person, director, producer. God bless him. And I think it's been a little bit underrated, or he's been a little bit underrated with such wonderful films he's done through the years. Anyway, he was a young director with a few TV movies and one theatrical feature, The Sugarland Express, and he was chosen to direct the film. And again, I'm sure they're saying, hey, Steve, we are going to have a movie about a man-eating shark. Do you want to have that you want to direct it? Do I have to get eaten by the shark? Would maybe be a question. Good question. The screenplay underwent several rewrites. Peter Benchley wrote the initial drafts, but they were heavily revised by Carl Gottlieb who added humor and character depth. The Shark didn't need any real character depth, if you know what I'm saying, because you'd see and I still can see the girl who was skinny dipping, and she's having a ball, and all of a sudden you hear her go, and yeah, there might be some music, the famous music, dun 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 dun, but then you hear her go, blah 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 blah, and she's taken under. Scary. Anyway, Roy Scheider was cast as Chief Martin Brody. Richard Dreyfuss played marine biologist Matt Hooper, and Robert Shaw portrayed the grizzled shark hunter Quint. Now, he was good. They're all good. They were all very good. But I do admit, Robert Shaw played a very crusty, angry boatsman, especially when things kind of went downhill. Anyway. Okay, Lorraine Gary and Murray Hamilton rounded out the primary cast as Brody's wife and the town mayor, respectively. Production challenges. Filming took place on the island of Martha's Vineyard, and I, thank goodness, I've had the opportunity about talking about the same thing 3 times so far this morning. I'm originally from Rhode Island, which is right next to Massachusetts. The Martha's Vineyard is right off Massachusetts, and I had the pleasure where I think the summer of 1968, I had a great job where I worked 3 to 4 days a week straight. And then because I had a girlfriend, her name was Ellen, that was working out on, for the summer out on Martha's Vineyard. So I was working at a marina in West Barrington, Rhode Island, and I would bum a ride on my days off via a boat leaving this marina called Cove Haven in West Barrington, Rhode Island, as I said, and we would go to, and I'd go as an extra crew to the vineyard. It was great, great, great. Sometimes I could, when it was time to go back to work, I'd be able to, thumb home, or have it where if I didn't have somebody leaving Martha's Vineyard to go back to where, I worked, I would take the ferry to the mainland, and I would put my thumb out and thumb for a ride home. Now, I know you don't see this anymore. And even back then, I admit, and I would have been 17, 18, we probably weren't afraid of anything. But even back then, some people say, "Oh, you really shouldn't hitchhike, because you never know who you're getting in a car with." But at 17, 18 years old, you don't worry about anything. But the problems they had, by the way, back to the movie, you say, okay, what are we talking about here? The mechanical shock. His name was Bruce, and it was named after Spielberg's lawyer, frequently malfunctioned, causing significant delays and forcing Spielberg to use innovative filming techniques. The difficulties with the shock led to the decision to suggest the presence of a shock rather than show it outright, increasing suspense and tension. And 100% right. One, and more than one, but this one particular, there's a girl at night skinny dipping, and I used to skinny dip too, don't tell anybody. This is a secret. But she's having fun, and she's on the surface of the water, and they show her legs, because she's treading water, as we would say. And you hear the music, dun 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 dun. Then you hear her go, as she is taken under and eaten, So, anyway, they did a lot of marketing on this film. Universal Pictures launched an unprecedented marketing campaign, including extensive TV advertising, which was novel, a novel strategy at that time. This became a box office success. Now, if the movie was great, as long as he did a pretty good job with the movie, which he did, there you go. It was a box office smash. Jaws premiered on June 20th of 1975, a wide release that was uncommon then. The film was a massive box office success, becoming the highest grossing film of its time until it was surpassed by Star Wars in 1977. Yeah, that was another favorite film of mine, and I probably have seen it about 10 times. And, you know, at the time, the special effects were very novel and amazing. Today, we have much better tools and so on and so forth, but back then it was pretty darn cool as to what we could see in a film. Critics praised Jaws for its suspense, direction, and performances, especially those of Scheider, Shore, and Dreyfuss. The film won 3 Academy Awards: Best Film Editing, Best Original Score for John Williams' iconic music, and Best Sound. The impact on cinema. Jaws is credited with creating the concept of the summer blockbuster, which is a major release time for summer months with significant advertising support. The film demonstrated the effectiveness of wide releases in television marketing, influence how future movies were promoted and distributed. You know, you think about it, you know, we were out of school, you know, in the summer. And although my mother, God bless my mother, pray for her every night, she wouldn't let me to go to movies on Sundays. And I would say, Mom, why are you not allowing me to go to a movie on a Sunday? She says, because it's Sunday. You know, would I go to church if I had to? But this should not be where one is linked to the other. But that's okay, Mom. Everybody has their fun attributes. The movie instilled a widespread fear of sharks and popularized shark-related media. It led to increased public awareness and scientific interest in sharks. Now, with sequels and franchise, success of Jaws spawned 3 sequels: Jaws 2, 1978, Jaws the Revenge. I guess, you know, sharks get angry and they say, I'm going to come back after you in 1970 or 83. These, you know, new movies or whatever, none of them matched the original's acclaim or impact. Jaws has inspired numerous parodies and references in various forms of media. I remember Saturday Night Live back then, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, etc., etc. I remember they have a sequence where somebody's in their apartment and they hear a knock on the wall, a door, excuse me, and they go, hello, and they go, dun, 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 dun. That's famous music, you know. If you hear that, you're going to get eaten by a shark. Anyway, they open the door and, yep, there we go. A jaw eats the head. Comically, eats somebody. In 2001, Jaws was selected for preservation in the United States Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Jaws remains a film in the thriller and horror genres, a testament to Steven Spielberg's directorial prowess and benchmark in cinematic history. So there we go. I hope number 3 is the charm. And, you know, I say to my wife, I call her 24, the good thing about live is you don't have to edit it. Even though, yes, within YouTube, you can edit it a little bit. I mean, it's not a full edit as you would if you just recorded it. But what happens is, as we've had this morning, this is my 3rd take. So that in itself isn't what we would consider exciting, that you have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, not because of me, but because you all, if you do watch it, you're going to go, come on, Jim, get this right. So thank you for being here again. By the way, subscribe. I appreciate it. I have 975 subscribers, and I need to get up to 1,000. So please help me. Thank you. I don't like to ask, but thank you again. Take care.